Well, howdy YouTube, Unky Joe here, Unky Joe's Playhouse. Today, whatever happened to my old Ryzen 5 1600 workstation? Stay tuned to find out. So many moons ago, a couple, 2, maybe 3 years ago, I had jumped on the AMD Ryzen bandwagon. I had a Ryzen 5 1600 and a Gigabyte AB350 gaming motherboard. And I decided I want to put that unit back to good use, right? I've tried Unraid on it, I've tried a bunch of other stuff. But today what I want to do is tell you exactly what I did with that unit and why I did what I did with that unit, or something along those lines. Anyway, so sitting on the floor behind me, it's the black, what is that, Thermaltake case. Remember my Unraid video? I set up Unraid on that unit. Well, I decided, Unraid is great, but I really don't have a use case for Unraid. I'm a Windows guy. And so I thought that unit would be better suited to serve my home server needs. In other words, being a location for my shared videos and music and photos and that kind of thing, running Plex and running Emby. I paired that motherboard up with a GTX 950 video card, which should be able to handle all my transcoding needs for Plex and for Emby and whatever else I might want to throw at it. And what that allows me to do, originally I had this shared storage set up on my Dell R710, but that thing is a bit of a power hog. So, and since this unit is going to be running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, I thought it was better suited to run it on this unit behind me. So what I want to do now is I want to show you the build process and what I did to get everything transferred over there. So let's go to that build process and I'll show you exactly what it is I'm talking about. And then we'll come back and we'll look at the server itself and see how it's doing. You know, I've been building machines for 30 years and nothing gives me more satisfaction than actually putting my hands into a machine and making it, the component parts come together. I think most of you feel the same way I do. System builds are fun. So I love futzing around with these things and moving stuff around. I've got as you can see here, I'm getting ready to mount an SSD drive into the unit. It's going to be my boot drive. And then I've got 4 bays, a 4-bay disk station in there for my spinning Rust hard drives. Now the problem I had was when I tried to mount the motherboard in there, because of how deep that drive enclosure goes, I had to move it out of the way to get the Ryzen 5 1600 motherboard in there, the Gigabyte AB350 Gaming 3, because it is a full-size ATX motherboard. So I did that, and then once I was able to get the motherboard mounted, I could then slide the drive bay back, but it was still a close fit because that drive bay enclosure is pretty deep. The Thermaltake case, I really like this case. It's one of their cheaper cases, but I really like the way it's laid out and all of the extra drive bays that they make available in this thing. Now, here's where the hard part begins. So I had to remove all those drives from my Dell R710 again. They've already been set up in a drive vendor array, so all I had to do was move them over to this machine, which was already loaded with 2 terabyte hard drives. Replace them with these, and then bring up Drive Bender, and it would automatically import the array. You've seen me do that before with Drive Bender. It's one of the other reasons I really like it. It doesn't format the drives in a proprietary format. But this is the most tedious and time-consuming part of this job. And 10-15 years ago I had a cordless screwdriver that I always had with me to make this task easier. And I've just gotten so lazy at my old age, I never replaced that cordless screwdriver in it. And I didn't want to use my drill. So here I am stuck doing them at night after dinner and everybody's been put to bed. I'm swapping out hard drives yet again out of that Dell and into this unit here. But it's a necessary evil and had to be done. So The long-term plan is to keep this unit as my home media server, running both Plex and MB, and keeping all my storage located on this device, which uses substantially less power than the Dell R710. I love the Dell R710s, but those really need to be reserved for doing my lab work and lab videos and testing things out for clients. And I want to keep that separation between the two networks. I may end up putting this network on its own VLAN. It just tends to complicate things. That's why I've never done it. But it would make for an interesting video. So I might consider doing that. Because nobody really logs into this server other than me and Plex and MB users. So it would be trivial to put it on its own VLAN and keep it isolated. But I'm lazy, so and I come by that naturally. So anyway, I've got a combination of a couple of 4 terabytes, a 3 terabyte, and a 2 terabyte drive now in this unit. And then what I'm doing is taking the 2 terabyte drives that were in this unit and putting them back into the Dell R710 just in case I need any supplemental storage in those Hyper-V machines. And sometimes I can multitask, like I was getting the operating system configured while I was mounting these drives. And let me tell you, your hands are tired after dealing with about 40 or 50 different screws in there. But we got it done, and I'm no worse for the wear. So of course, I'm going to run DriveBender on this machine. Now I have 2 Synology NASs. I have the DS918 Plus, and then I have the FS1018 that was actually now has been officially given to us by Sasha over in the UK. He runs a company called Blue Telecoms, and Sasha, your generosity knows no bounds, my friend. That was very kind of you to just give it to me. That is a nice bit of kit, and we are putting it to good use with shared storage. Now, I know y'all really like my server videos, and that's fine. I'll be doing lots more of them, but I've had a lot of trouble deciding how I wanted to host my home media stuff. I need to keep that separate from my business network. And I thought, well, I'll just run it on the Dell R710. But the problem is the Dell R710 consumes about 225 to 250 watts of power when it's running. And it's real, even though I put that lower power processors in there, those Xeons, and it consumes less electricity, it just doesn't make any sense to leave that unit up and running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That unit is really designed for me to do lab videos on, and to do creations in the lab with Hyper-V and testing other hypervisors and that kind of thing. So I have now settled on this Ryzen 5 1600 because it's a low power consumption unit. Now I'm running Windows Server 2019 on this unit, and a lot of people say, well, you can't run a video card on Windows Server 2019. Well, you most certainly can, and in fact the NVIDIA drivers load with no trouble whatsoever. So I've got my original NVIDIA GeForce GTX 950 video card in here. This is the one I had to kind of jury-rig the fans on, but I got it working reliably. So my plan ultimately, I've already got my storage. I took all the drives, as you saw in the video, out of my Dell, put them into this Thermaltake 4-bay disk station over here, and the Thermaltake case. Put the Ryzen motherboard in there. It's got 16 gig of RAM, that's plenty. Now, right now I don't have Plex or MB on this. Plex and MB are still running on my Dell R720. But the plan is tonight that I'm going to move Plex and MB over to this machine. And then this machine will be just dedicated to my home audio video needs, that kind of thing. So running DriveBender. Now some of the beauty of DriveBender is you can just pool all the drives together. It offers no redundancy whatsoever. So of course neither, other than, let me rephrase that. It does offer redundancy, and this is why I like DriveBender, because you can actually drill down into the individual directories and choose what you want to mirror or duplicate to another drive. And then DriveBender also has the benefit of keeping the drives balanced for you automatically. And then Drive Bender also gives you smart statistics and warns you when an error is about to occur. So right now I've got two 4 terabyte drives in there. I've got a 3 terabyte drive in there, and then I've got a 2 terabyte drive in there. And the plan is to replace that 4 terabyte drive with another, the 2 terabyte drive, DB1, with another 4 terabyte drive whenever they get drives back in stock, because right now it's kind of hard to do. So right now this is simply serving as the storage server for all my video and audio and pictures and that kind of thing for the home network. But seeing as it has that excellent GTX 950 video card in here, I'm going to move Plex and the Plex duties over to here. And I'm going to do a separate video on how to move Plex from one machine to another without losing all your setup information. And if I can find the information on how to do that with MB, I'm going to do that as well. So as you can see here, I've got 4.3 terabyte of data in use. 1.17 of that is duplicated data. So I've still got 5.4 terabytes free on my drive array here, on my drive pool. And then this gives you a breakdown with a little pie chart about what kind of files are consuming what. So I've got 4.3 terabyte of video, 13 gig of music, 7 gig of pictures, some other video miscellaneous stuff on here. So, but this is what suits my needs. The reason I'm running Windows Server 2019 on here and not Windows 10 is because I have licenses available. Because Windows Server 2019 can be a bit pricey, but there are ways around that, and I've covered that in other videos on how to get Windows 2019 for free in your lab environment. But the beauty of doing that with Drive Bender is that I can have all my nuts stored in one location. And once I get MB and Plex up and running on here, then they'll take advantage of that GTX 950 video card. So I just wanted you to see how I've got it set up. The Dell R710 is now powered off, and it only needs to be turned on if I'm going to run virtual machines on here. Now what I did was I still have 5 2 terabyte drives laying around from the olden days, as they say, and I moved those into that Dell R710. I really don't need storage in my servers because I have that Synology flash station now, and it's pretty much full of SSD drives. So I use shared storage for my virtual machines, and I'm going to be doing some more videos on that. But I just wanted you to see how I've got my home media server set up to serve my home media needs. Now, one of the major reasons that I did this is I just wanted to decrease, as we're getting into the summer months, the more power I use, the warmer it gets in my office. So I went from using 200 watts nearly at idle on that Dell R710 down to about 70 watts, 65 watts at idle. And if I'm streaming or movies from that machine, it'll get up into the 100 range, 100 watt range, but only while I'm using it. It is on a UPS, it is on a battery backup over here, so it is protected. I just couldn't see the reason for having that Dell dedicated to serving my home video needs when this one does it just as well, if not better, because it's got a better video card in it. Remember, the Dell R710 does not have a video card in it. The R720 does, but it's a lower end card, and I want to be prepared for H.265, and this NVIDIA GTX 950 will handle that. So there you go. That's how I've got things moved around now. And like I said, I'll do a separate video on migrating your Plex setup from one machine to another. And if I can find the notes for it, I'll do the same thing with MB. So anyway, we hope you found the video entertaining and informative. I hope everybody is staying safe out there. I hope this pandemic going on has not affected you or your family or friends. So stay where you are. Stay at home. Enjoy the time with your family, and we'll all get through this. Donate if you're so inclined. We take PayPal and we take Patreon. Thanks again for coming to see us. And please don't forget, smash the like button, leave your comments in the comments section, and that we will see you on the other side.